it's grayscale. Like,
bro,
the poor
she had
girl,
like a sickness.
She has cancer,
yeah,
man.
Dude, like lay off.
And he's like, yeah, I like my story better. What up, and welcome to another episode of Brotherhood Without Manners, your favorite full spoiler reread podcast of George R.R. Martin's A Song of Ice and Fire series. I'm Nate, as always. Joining me, my brother, Zach.
What up?
We're reading Clash of Kings right now, and we are full spoiler. We will spoil the books.
That's what full spoiler means.
Yes, but we'll also spoil a lot of other things too, because that's what we've done before as well. We don't really care. So if you've not seen something, you probably shouldn't listen.
I don't have any current spoilers.
Me either, no. Yeah, so you're safe for now.
You're safe for now.
But we'll see what happens.
If you joined us before, thank you for coming back. We enjoyed doing the podcast. Don't you start, you motherfucker. Anyway.
I'm starting.
We like to read A Song of Ice and Fire here and talk about it, analyze it, if we can. Because Martin's much smarter than we are.
Much smarter than one of us.
If you joined us last episode, who were we reading, Nate?
Arya 4.
Arya 4.
Yeah, because I have it written down so that I don't forget.
Cool.
For once.
And what happened in Arya 4, Nate?
Arya escaped from this small little holdfast where she had been encountering Amory Lorch, who was putting them to the torch. That's awesome.
Amory Lorch putting him to the torch.
And she ducked out into the tunnel. The barn collapsed on her after she made a daring and heroic rescue for Jack and Hagar.
Which is a pretty...
So I posed to you this question.
Ooh, mysterious.
Because it came up when I was after we recorded, and I know this is a Tyrion episode, but is that the real Jack and Hagar and he died? And his face just got taken right there?
Ooh.
And so Arya has not yet encountered a faceless man? I mean, this guy's talking pretty suave and debonair.
No, it's a good question.
Stuff,
but I mean, regardless of if that's the answer or not, it's a pretty significant moment, and we really didn't touch on it too much. That's probably the moment, either Jack and Hagar, if this is him, the faceless man as we know him, or whatever. This is where they latched onto Arya, because Arya
made the attempt to save him.
Yeah, and so it is a significant moment, but that's an interesting question too.
Granted, I think they would need to recover the face. Or
it's the whole question of why was Jack and Hagar in the red cells in the first place?
Right.
Is it a plant from the beginning, or is it Serial Pharrell, as people like to believe? So,
who knows?
But yeah, so Arya was in the shit. This episode, we're going to be reading Tyrion 3.
Yeah, so on Tyrion 2...
Tyrion had made it to King's Landing, obviously, and was doing some ruling. He told Janos Slynt to fuck off to the wall.
Fuck off!
And Janos Slynt, beforehand, had been trying to get him to raise Alar Deem to the position of head of the Gold Cloaks, commander of the Gold Cloaks. Tyrion wasn't having it, wanting Jacelyn Bywater instead.
Who's a badass.
And we find out was appointed anyway, and Slynt gets shipped off to the wall to give Mormont Tyrion's regards.
And he gives Bywater permission to make sure Alar Dean doesn't make the voyage. Throw his ass overboard.
So then Tyrion meets up with Varys, and they're discussing Cersei having the bastards of Robert's killed, and how that's posing an issue, because Alar Dean had gotten into some issue in a brothel. Not issue. He killed a baby and the mother in a brothel and got some shit for it. And so Tyrion's pretty fucked up by this, and Varys is giving him counsel about sort of the treasons. Some people are whispering that there's 5 kings in the realm, and Tyrion's, and they answer the riddle and essentially say that power resides where men believe it resides. And Tyrion... Fuck, I had a point to make here.
What an idiot.
Tyrion then asks Bronn if he would kill a baby without question for him. And Bronn,
I'd ask a question.
Yeah.
How much? And
yeah, we get a sense of how callous the world really is, where Tyrion is kind of...
But this episode, this chapter, we open on a very pissed off Cersei Lannister.
Stannis' letters have arrived.
Fuck yes.
Yay.
So they're in the small council chamber. It is Peter Baelish, Maester Pycelle, Cersei, and Tyrion, I believe, is the only 4 that are there. And yeah, Cersei is not fucking happy.
No, she's irate. Pycelle explains that the first had reached them through Castle Stokeworth, and the second came through Lord Giles himself.
Yeah.
So Littlefinger points out that if Stannis bothered sending it to those fuck-alls...
Well, yeah, because the first one, it was a Maester that had received it.
Yeah, and brought it to them.
Yeah, so, like, if these little low lords... And, you know, Lord Giles might be a badass dude, but, like, he's not one of the great houses. And if they're getting these letters, you could be damn sure Stannis sent these everywhere else.
So Cersei wants every copy burned. Every copy burned. So that no hint of his vile accusations reach Joff's ears or my father's.
And we get our first...
the ignorance to assume that
Tywin.
These letters are going out, and Tywin Lannister
exists in this world.
Didn't get one or 17.
Well, yeah, because he's like, there's no way in hell that one didn't get sent to Casterly Rock, one didn't get sent to Harrenhal, like...
And there's no point in burning them. The wine is spilled. There's no use trying to put it back in the cup. But it might not be as dire as she thinks. He's trying to.
So when he says that, she turns on him and calls him witless. I thought that was fucking hilarious.
Witless protection. Bam.
Not anything to do with witless protection, I guess, but just the fact that it's Cersei telling Tyrion that he is witless.
Yeah.
When he's the only one currently Littlefinger as well is fucking toying some shit, but she's just going on pure emotion right
she's puffed up by pride because she goes on saying, the boy Joffrey, he calls him, and he dares accuse me of incest, treason, and adultery. This is a wound to her ego.
Only because you're guilty, dear sister.
Yeah.
Like,
it's only her ego that's blinding. That's why she wants these burned, because they're talking shit about her and Joffrey.
Yeah, because he even says right here, or thinks to himself, that he's astonished at how pissed off she's getting over something that they all know to be true.
Yeah.
Especially her. Like, she's the one doing it.
Yeah, and he asks her what she would expect Stannis to write. Like, oh yeah, no, my nephew is the true-born heir, and yada yada yada.
Yeah, he explains that he needs a claim. If he doesn't have some pretext to justify his rebellion, then all the small folk are going to be like, no? Like, why would you think that you get to be king? That doesn't make sense.
Cersei doesn't want to suffer being called a whore.
And again, his fucking wit, man. I love this guy.
Yeah, why sister? He never claims that Jaime paid you, Tyrion thinks. But Tyrion then wisely points out, draws attention to the point of the letter that says, done in the light of the Lord.
Yeah, which gives old bitch Pycelle the fucking opportunity to speak up and explain that that's just the common term used from the Valyrian, the other cities, where it's a common greeting, or not greeting, but term.
I mean, we know what the fuck
tree.
It is.
I was just trying to impersonate Pycelle.
Fuck Pycelle. You didn't even do a voice.
All right, I know. It's just because I was jumbling over my words and I thought I could get out of it by
Pycelle explained, acting like, I have the info. But Tyrion's saying that it seems that Stannis is taken up with a Red Priest, that we can use that against him, saying that he's forgoing the gods of the men of his men that they've all known and grown up with.
Yeah, so he says that he wants the high fucking chancellor of the goddamn church.
The High Septon?
Yeah, why you...
Well, High Chancellor, what the fucking fuck? Like, no one knows what the fuck that is. It's not Palpatine.
It could be.
It's not.
Maybe he will be one day.
He gets ripped apart in the bread riots.
Okay, that's true. So, anyway, he gets urged. They want him to be urged to release the news that Stannis has foregone the gods. And is like...
It's tabloid gossip at this point.
Yeah, that's it.
And Cersei says first, though, she wants the rumor squashed, and anyone who is heard speaking of incest or calling Joffrey a bastard should lose a tongue for it. And old bitch immediately is like, a prudent measure. And Tyrion's like, no, that's stupid.
Yeah,
and I got the
dope
I got the quote. When you tear out a man's tongue, you are not proving him a liar. You are only telling the world you fear what he might say. And, I mean, there you fucking go. Like, it's a rumor. If you let it...
Does that make you think of Ilyn Payne at all?
With,
just in general,
I mean,
like, it makes you...
I mean, it was true what he was saying in every sense. Tywin was the one ruling the realm. So, yeah, Ilyn Payne is sort of a walking epitome of that metaphor. And Tyrion says to let the small folk whisper. They'll grow bored of it. And then he even goes on, does Stannis offer any proof? How could he when it never happened? And he turns a sweetest smile towards his sister.
So this is when Littlefinger speaks up, and he basically just agrees with Tyrion and says, what we should do is fight fire with fire.
Fire with fire.
And he's like, Stannis is kind of a fucking weirdo, and so he's married, but, we could just say that his daughter ain't even his fucking daughter, and that his weird little wife over there is out sleeping around with all sorts of motherfucking wackos, and that Shireen is baseborn.
The small folk are always eager to believe the worst, especially if they're lords, and so it's not far-fetched, and Tyrion even hates to admit it.
Well, yeah, because Cersei, she loves the idea.
Oh,
she's
yeah,
like,
she's...
Who should we make Selyse's lover?
Pour me wine right
Let's
now.
Do this.
Let me get my
We're
burn book.
MASH.
I'm getting the burn book. I'm going to get this.
This is
going
to be great.
Who should we do this
And yes,
to?
Tyrion hates to agree with him, but Littlefinger's got a pretty good scheme going on.
Yes, so even more discourse amongst Stannis' camp, and it can only help their cause. And
so he suggests perhaps Axel Florent.
Well,
now,
Littlefinger gets savage because, Axel Florent.
So yeah, now it was Davos's chapter where we last met Axel Florent as he was leaving Stannis' chamber, and fucking what a slob fuck we were saying anyway. But for Selyse to be having a fucking affair with him, like, that's vile in itself.
Yeah, that's gross.
And,
I mean, they're related as well. I think it's her uncle.
Yeah, it's her uncle, yeah. And Littlefinger laughs. He thinks that's... Because Tyrion's like, and Shireen does, they say, have the Florin ears.
Yeah.
And so, they came from him, maybe. And Littlefinger thinks that's that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Let me suggest something fucked up.
He gets savage.
Dude. That Shireen seems to have something in common with a certain one freak-faced, tattooed, motley fuck known as Patchface. Because, he's got motley on his face. She's got her face all jacked up and frozen, and he just fucking goes in on this girl.
Yeah, he tells a little anecdote. An envoy from Lys once observed to me that Stannis must love his daughter very well, as he had depicted 100 statues of her all along Dragonstone's battlements. My lord, I had to tell him, those are gargoyles. And Peter suggests that the more bizarre, the more shocking the rumor,
the more likely
they'll attach to it. So he suggests Patchface, who follows the girl around everywhere anyway, and even looks like her with his fucked up face. And Pycelle is just aghast.
Is he really, though?
I think he is, because Cersei's heating Littlefinger over him.
Yeah, maybe.
Fucking, he's just not being in the know right now. But Cersei smiled the smile she usually reserved for Jaime.
Because it says that, I think you jumped a little bit from where I wanted.
Oh, did I?
I quoted that. But, so, when Pycelle was aghast, he said, at Selyse betting, she would never bet a fool. And Littlefinger replies, well, you'd have to be a fool to bed Selyse Florent.
He goes in this chapter.
And I put that we finally get to see Littlefinger actually in action. Because, we saw him play in Game of Thrones with Ned. But now we have somebody that can see what he's fucking doing. And to see him just coming up with this tale right here, it's like, fuck
yeah,
me,
well,
man.
I think his experience, especially with dealing with someone and kind of talking about fucking with someone like Selyse, is he gets the experience from Lysa. From that crazy finding her suitors and men to kind of keep her interested, and it's this disgusting.
So I just thought that comment was just
these women are just shit on.
But he also does slip in the, trying to make it seem like there is actually, because he mentions there's always a nugget of truth in every rumor. The nugget of truth being that they both have fucked up faces.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck, dude?
Valid.
And Pycelle gets all offended. He's like, but her face it's grayscale. Like,
bro, she had
girl,
like a sickness.
She has cancer, man.
Dude, like lay off.
And he's like, yeah, I like my story better.
Mine's funnier.
Sure, but I like mine, and so will the small folk.
Yeah.
And then Cersei, like you said, smiled the sort of smile she customarily reserved for Jaime.
Ew.
Lord Peter, you are a wicked creature. And a most accomplished liar, Tyrion adds less warmly, it says.
And thinks this one is much more dangerous than I knew.
Yeah.
And that's it. We
for first-time readers, going like when the blanket was fucking pulled off your eyes when Littlefinger betrayed Ned, and then now to see him in action, and then for Tyrion to be like, oh shit.
Like
this
how
guy's
quickly
fucked.
he just played on Cersei's
easily,
anger and everything. Like, and it's nothing for him. He just told a little fucking fun rumor about Stannis.
Just started a rumor, but Tyrion says that this can't come from them. Like, it's a self-serving lie.
Yeah.
So nothing good can come from them revealing it. But Littlefinger's got an answer for that.
He can disperse them through the rumor through his brothels, and Varys can also probably assist with his little birds. And I think it's interesting that there's this small exchange where Littlefinger and Tyrion exchange glances, and Cersei doesn't notice. And I think that's super telling, that she's not noticing the second level that's occurring in this room right now between apparently only Tyrion and Littlefinger. But Pycelle may be. I'm not entirely
he's
counting.
He's an informant. He's not. I mean,
I
he's trying
think he's
to pay attention,
spineless, but
and he's got his appearance.
He's more reactionary to Cersei than anything else. And so, talk turns to Varys' absence from this council meeting, actually. And Tyrion actually happens to know exactly where Varys is.
Yeah, because Pycelle even comments, I don't trust
Of
that.
course, I don't trust the eunuch. But, Tyrion knows exactly where Varys is. But the small council didn't need to know, and so Tyrion gets up excusing himself, and Cersei's immediately like, where you going? King's business? Is that what you're going to do? And Tyrion says that he's having a gift made for Joffrey. A little chain he's having forged, and
he has chains. Too many that he can't even wear them all. Well, I am making him one that I feel he will cherish above all others.
So...
Yeah.
I mean... Obviously, as a reread, we know what happens at Blackwater, but...
Yeah, the chain to go across.
Well, I think that's because some of our listeners, as we know, are reading for the first time. So that's the difference between the show and the book Blackwater, and that's
the chain isn't there?
The chain is not in the show.
We're full spoiler, man.
That's
I didn't realize
that's what I'm saying. Is
there's a chain,
and I mean it's interesting that it's already like we're getting hints like this, like
your
first read through, you're like, oh, he's making him a bauble. Like,
well, that's it. Well, because he mentions like, and then when he, we're gonna get into the where they reveal the big links, but you don't really. I forgot that they don't use the chain in Battle of Blackwater, because that's how he keeps them in when he fucking hits them with the wildfire. And this is a fucking genius tactic, was getting this chain built, and he rushed it. He stopped all Cersei's stupid shit for this. And so it's definitely she doesn't even understand how much this will
help them.
Win them the battle, man.
But Bronn waited for him outside and tells him that the Smiths are all in his audience chamber waiting for him. And so Tyrion tells him he wants his litter prepared because he'll be leaving as soon as he's done dealing with them. So he heads to his chambers, and in his chambers, his squire, Podrick Payne.
So he greets the Moon brothers that are guarding his door. But Podrick Payne is laying out his clothes. I heart Podrick.
Shy boy.
Podrick's one of my favorite characters.
Tyrion's pretty sure he was inflicted on him by his father as a joke, as we discussed in Book
Joke's
1.
on you, Tywin. He's a fucking gem.
A more loyal squire there has never been. But Tyrion gets dressed. I just wrote in a pimpin' outfit. He's looking regal as fuck.
So I didn't really go too much into detail with it either, except that he had the gold chain.
Like, he's kind of living his best life
that's
in
it. Well,
this
that's
king's hand.
He's loving being the hand. Because he's wearing this chain, like I said, that it's hands made of gold clasping each other. Like, something that only the hand should be wearing. But he is doing good. Like, he's actually doing good for the city.
He's what Ned Stark would have, like, Ned Stark had the Warden of the North. Like, if he could play the game, he would be what Tyrion is now in this regal. You almost forget he's a dwarf when he's coming in because of the power. And I think he does too. It's sort of this head high that he's on. He's thriving in this environment. Him and Littlefinger doing their exchange on top of Cersei and having Varys out of the meeting. And Tyrion knows where they are, but they're all like, where is he? And does Littlefinger know where Varys is? Most likely. He fucking probably has some idea. But
who really knows?
Yeah, it's just the layers that we get fucking displayed here are amazingly good.
So we follow Tyrion into his council chamber, his audience chamber in the hand of the Tower of the Hand, and
he gets announced.
Yeah, and he loves it. He's just like, fuck yeah,
this is sick.
This is what I'm talking about.
And he ends up just showing them the because there's a bunch of smith workers.
He just walks in. He's like, I'm not here to waste time.
Yeah,
this is what I want. And he drops out 3 massive chain links onto the floor, and he says, whatever you're doing right now, don't fucking bother. This is what you're working on now.
I want 1,000 more like these.
I want every single fucking apprentice, master, journeyman, fucking... I don't give a shit. If they know how to work metal, you need to be working on these now. And, they kind of... A couple of them are like...
Yeah, Tyrion picks one out, Iron Belly, and asks if he can lead.
He steps forward and is like, oh, these are... We could do that.
But he says, what about the mail and swords that the queen had wanted? And Tyrion says, the chains come first, and I promise no harm will come to you that my sister threatened. Because she was going to smash their hands if they...
didn't meet the quota.
Yeah. And so another Smith, though, puffs up and suggests that this is beneath him. He crafts master armor, and he'll craft something for Tyrion. He suggests a fine armor with a demon's head helm. So that way men will fear him as he rides into battle. And Tyrion thinks, a demon's head? What does that say of me? And I just really like that with the imp nickname that he has. And then
it's just very... You're daring to basically call him an imp to his face. But at the same time, Tyrion is the one who claims that he wears this as what better thing to have than this fucking snarling demon imp fucking helm.
But I just have this image of Tyrion donned in this sitting doing what he's doing, and it becomes this whole of his villain trajectory sort of.
Well, that's where I was going to go with it next is though, if he eventually dons this mask of this demon, he could get to a point where he is without
it's like the Hound,
and I mean figuratively.
It's the Hound helmet,
exactly,
with the legacy that
basically
gets.
he puts the Hound helmet on,
and he becomes the imp.
Exactly,
yeah, and then
he just goes savage.
He becomes that cruel ruler, and so he tells him, "You will make the chains, or you will wear them," and leaves without another word.
Yeah, just stands up and then he's like,
boss ass mic drop,
deuce bitches.
And so Bronn again waited by the gate with his litter and some of the Black Ears to escort them, and Tyrion had done much to help the food situation in the city, yet was always met with accusing eyes.
Because at this point, he's gotten carpenters to stop building catapults per Cersei and start making fishing boats so that they can get out in the fucking water, start fishing some shit, because we don't have any boats here. He's opened up the Kingswood, saying if there's anybody that was willing to cross the river, you're more than welcome to go out there and hunt some fucking game. And, he's doing some good in the fucking city, man.
But they still blame him, and so he thinks that the litter helped shield him from all of that. And he gets in and just starts reflecting on the morning's events and thinks that Cersei, in her ire, had overlooked the true significance of Stannis Baratheon's letter. What had mattered is he named himself king. And what on earth would Renly think of that? And so I really think there's an important significance to the fact that Renly announced first, because it's setting the precedence of
What's an unimportant significance?
Did I say an important significance?
Yeah,
I guess that is kind of redundant.
But anyway.
a significance to the fact that Renly now, because like it's sort of this basis now of like what's Renly gonna think of Stannis' claim?
I think it's funny that he's an afterthought, like the Renly thing, yeah. But B, it's I see it more as this should be not more like, oh well, I wonder what Renly.
But I in knowing Stannis as the proud man, like this is the very thing that would irk him. Is like, what does it matter what Renly thinks?
Yeah, true.
And so like just the fact that Renly announced first, like is what already has Renly in Stannis' head a little bit, because questions like this come up and it's shouldn't matter because Stannis is the elder brother, and so it's just fucking great writing on George's part. But he looks out the window of his litter, just trying to sort out. He starts playing a little game of trying to pick the different informers out, and thinks that the ones who look most suspicious are likely innocent. It is the ones who look innocent that I need to beware. And I mean, that's King's Landing. That's the mentality Ned Stark needed to have.
But that's also the paranoia.
And that's absolutely the paranoia.
You won't find anybody because, I also found it similar to Ned actually when Littlefinger pointed out the guards and was like, that one, you see that one, you see that one.
Yeah.
And so I kind of thought of it like that, but Tyrion doesn't need the point. He can pick some out. Not all of them, clearly.
Yeah.
But
so the roads are pretty congested, and Tyrion starts to drift off to sleep. So while he steals a cat nap,
we slipped in a meeting.
We're going to slip in our meeting, so we'll catch you real quick after that and probably arrive at a brothel or something.
Yeah, that's exactly what's going to happen.
Oh, all right,
it's like you've read this before.
Who knows?
That's too much silence. Welcome to the small council. What's going on, everybody? Why are you still staring at me? We're in the small council now.
Because I'm giving you the
silence. My phone's going off. This is weird. Like, things are happening.
He always yells at me that I don't put enough silence. And then I give him silence, and he yells at me again. I just never win. This is what I deal with, listeners. Anyway, welcome to the small council. We just have some quick stuff we want to share with you guys real quick. We got a motherfucking review on iTunes that we need to shout out real quick like.
Yeah, and then we'll share with you how you can reach out to us and, express how you can do this also. And so this comes finally from our friend in France.
I was just going to do some trumpets, but I don't know why that felt anticlimactic.
Okay. Whatever. So this is from Julian F25 via Apple Podcasts. I recommend this podcast. Nate and Zach are plain nice co-hosts that funnily get at each other's throats.
You're plain.
I was going to say you're nice, but that would be a compliment. Fuck. They share the thoughts, but don't patronize the listeners, and even include those by reading their contributions during their podcast. Hey, look at that.
Hey.
It's like a fucking break in the wall there. It's all like meta shit. We're reading about how we read, about reading, about how we read.
Thanks for the review, Julian.
It's a review inception. Appreciate it, though.
Yeah.
We love it. So if you would like to write in to us with the inductees, which is also something we do every episode.
At the end of the episode, usually.
Yeah, you can write in anywhere, whether you are on Facebook, Instagram.
Yeah, you got mad at me last episode when I said every social media platform.
Because we don't have like TikTok.
Well, I know. We're not on
Can we be on Pinterest? Is that a thing? Is like people follow on that? I don't use that either.
I don't know what Pinterest is, dude.
It's cool. So there's a lot that we are not on, but we are on a few of them. And if you would like to write to us, you can do so. We are on Facebook, facebook.com/Brotherhood Podcast. We are on Twitter. I am Nate, and I am on Twitter at Manners Without. Zach over here is at Carstark92. The Twitter is the same as Nate's Twitter. The Twitter.
Oh my fucking God.
The Instagram is the same as Nate's Twitter at Manners Without. I got there in the end. We also have the private Facebook group, which you can get access to via Patreon.
Yep.
Patreon.com/mannerswithout. And we have sweet bonus episodes over there. If you want to help support what we do, make it so that we can continue doing what we do.
Doing.
Upgrade this shitty equipment we got going on. then head on over there. You could throw us some money. You can also do that through PayPal, but, whatever. We're not just
Whoa.
reaching.
Slow down.
But anyway, you can also leave us rates and reviews on, we have this neat little link, ratethispodcast.com/brotherhood. And that will send you to any of the platforms that are workable on your device. And you can leave us a review, you can rate us, and it's pretty cool.
Devices are cool.
Devices are cool.
Sweet.
You're annoying, and I'm tired of it.
I'm tired of you and this small council.
Well, I still need to give my Without Manners Brotherhood at gmail.com so that people can send me emails, and I can write to them.
Emails. I check the email, too.
Oh, I guess that's true.
Yeah.
I should change the password. Fucking goon.
You're
anyway,
rude.
We'll let you get back to the episode. So thanks for listening. And
Juice.
Have fun with Tyrion.
So almost an hour later, they arrive at a brothel. And Bronn kind of laughs, saying, "She isn't enough for you." And Tyrion says that she's pretty enough for a camp follower, but I am no longer in a camp. And little men have big appetites. And he says, "I'm told the girls here are fit for a king. This house was a favorite of Robert's."
I loved that Bronn was like, wait, Joffrey's old enough?
Yeah.
What?
And,
Which
yeah.
then plants that idea into Tyrion's head.
Yeah, he is indeed old enough. And so inside, a woman with flowing silks and ebon skin greets him, introducing herself as Chataya.
Chataya. She's fucking cool.
Yeah, she's badass.
I bet she's hot as fuck, because look at her. She's just all sexy up there in her silk gowns and, like,
I'm scared.
all flowy at fucking Tyrion.
I
She's
need
like,
an adult in
you
this
can't
room with
handle
me."
this shit.
So,
She's a badass bitch, is
yeah,
what I'm saying.
Tyrion, they have some snarky back and forth where Tyrion tells her that names and titles are dangerous, and she recognizes him as the Hand of the King, and he has to see some of her girls, and so...
She escorts him through this lavish, gorgeous mansion of a building, and he's just showering her with compliments throughout.
And then they do some creepy voyeurism, because from behind a mirror screen, they look unseen upon these different girls that she starts pointing out, and Tyrion really starts thinking that maybe Joffrey could use a fucking visit here. But Chataya explains that because she points out her daughter sitting in there, and Tyrion's like, oh.
Yeah, and she explains why it's okay for her daughter to be in here learning the arts of love. Because in the Summer Isles, it is respected and honored even if you do it well, so... Yeah,
and many of the highborn youths and maidens, after their first flowering, are sent to serve in pleasure houses as an honoring to the gods. And Tyrion...
He's like,
he asks how that honors the gods, and she says, well, the gods give us voices to worship them, hands so we might build them temples, and they give us desire so that we might mate and worship them in that way. And Tyrion says, well, if all it takes to pray is my cock, then I'd be a hell of a lot more religious. And fucking, I can't disagree.
I can't say that that's an inaccurate statement.
And so he says that he'll accept her suggestion of her daughter. And they meet at the foot of the stairs, and her name is Alalaya.
Should I have interrupted you there?
Yeah.
Atayaya.
There's a T in there?
Atayaya. Yeah.
Atayaya?
Not too many yayas.
Too many Yaya sisterhood?
No, there's no sisterhood here. I mean, maybe there's a sisterhood, but... Yeah, it's Atayaya.
Atayaya.
Now you got me fucking stumbling. I was doing just fine. Alayaya.
Yeah, there's no T.
It's not a T.
Alayaya.
Oh yeah, I wrote it as Alayaya. I pointed to Varys when I said that.
Fuck me, we've said this too many times. Alayaya takes him by the hand and leads him upstairs to a bedroom, and they sit on the bed and they chat for a second, and she tells him that what he seeks he will find in the wardrobe. And this part of the chapter felt like extremely fantasy to me, where like it's this secret chamber in the brothel, like.
Well, no, and that's it. That's the low fantasy that people like forget about in this world, and it's very much that these are those secret tunnels and those like fucking because he goes over to the wardrobe and like. after kissing her on the hand and thanking her for, he like slips his fingers into the back of the thing and finds like a secret latch that fucking drops this fucking, and it's very like Indiana Jones or like just whimsical, and there he is face to face with Varys.
Yeah, candle in hand, Varys.
He recognized him immediately. Is it because he's seen this before?
I don't know.
Because has Ned seen this form?
I think so.
Because I feel like this one visited him in the black cells, but I forget.
Yeah, no, I think you're right.
And I think this might be the form that... Did we decide that Varys took Gendry to the... Or we learned somebody... Who did we learn did that? Took Gendry to get the fuck out of the city.
Varys.
It was Varys. Yeah, so I think he was under this disguise in that when he did that.
Yeah, he did not look at all like himself. A scarred face and dark stubble showed underneath a steel cap with a dirk set at his waist. And Tyrion asks if he truly believes that Chataya can be trusted. And Varys says that he trusts nothing in this fickle and treacherous world. But Chataya has no love for the queen and knows that she has you to thank for ridding her of Al-Ardim. And so that's interesting, because now we know where the brothel was that Al-Ardim was murdering motherfucking babies. And so, Varys heads off down the tunnel, and Tyrion notes that even his walk is different. Varys is committed.
Yeah, man. Well, even not just the walk, but he smells of garlic, not the usual lavender, so he's not perfumed. So, yeah, he's got it down, man. And Varys, because Tyrion's like, so, the fuck's a brothel doing with a secret tunnel, man? Yeah. And Varys explains there was another hand that wanted to enter these types of establishments, but couldn't just do it through the front door like Tyrion can. And so this was made for them. And when Chataya bought the establishment, I don't know if she's owned it since that point or inherited it, but she's kept the secret very closely guarded.
Yeah. I also like that as they're walking, Tyrion mentions that, I don't think any of Cersei's followers spotted me. And Varys, like, kind of almost shitting on him, is like, I'm pleased, as some of the queen's spies are mine, and unbeknownst to the queen, and I'd be very upset to think that they had grown sloppy enough to be seen. Where, like, I think he's, one, revealing that he's got spies among them, but two, like, shitting on Tyrion, like, at this point, bro, you should be able to travel unseen. So, like, I'd hate to think that, like, oh, gosh forbid you got spotted by the queen's fucking... So just the light air of it in the seriousness of the situation. Like,
so I skipped my own note there that about that. I thought it was more of like Varys giving him a hard time. Oh, you didn't find, because Tyrion was like, yeah, I didn't see anybody. Nobody was. He's like, that's good to know that my spies are still doing their job well enough that you can't even...
Well, that's what I mean. He's shitting on him, but, like, it's just so out of place, this kind of humor, like, in such a tense situation. I mean...
That's what makes me think that the last line is so endearing.
Yeah. But he tells him that the secrecy isn't for naught because they know you're here. So sooner or later, someone's going to find out you're here. So it's better just to err on the side of caution. And... Yeah, they emerge eventually from a...
Well, because Tyrion mentions... oh, no, you're correct. My bad. Didn't mean to interrupt you. Yeah, they emerge in a stable.
Yeah, at the back of a stable. And Tyrion... or Varys begins saddling. They decide on what Tyrion's going to ride.
And tell him it's easier to hide you as a child. They're more common than dwarves. So
yeah, he covers them in a cloak.
You're going to be that. And then, what I was going to interrupt you, thinking that you had skipped, Tyrion mentions Stannis is naming himself king. And Varys is... I know.
Yeah.
Duh. Obviously. I have 6 of the letters right here. He didn't pull any letters out. But
yeah.
I would imagine he could. But Tyrion mentions, he asks him, like, I wonder how he arrived at the suspicion that my sister was involved with incest. And
I wonder.
Maybe he read a book. That was, and just...
Looked at a bastard's hair color, as Ned Stark and Jon Arryn did before him, or perhaps someone whispered it in his ear. And Varys' laugh here was not his usual giggle, but deeper and more throaty. But Tyrion, essentially assuming it was him, and Varys is like, no, it wasn't me that told Stannis, like...
Why would I tell this secret? I've held on for so long, like... Besides, all the bastards are there for everyone to see themselves.
Yeah.
So
it is one thing to deceive a king, and quite another to hide from the cricket in the rushes and the little bird in the chimney. Like, I just love that line.
I hate the way he talks in such a magical way.
And he says that Robert fathered 8 bastards, to my knowing, and all the babes, even though the mothers were different hairstyles, were black as raven hair.
Yeah, and because this is news to Tyrion. He's kind of like, oh shit, the bastard's hair and all that. Learning the genealogy shit that, even Ned figured that out. Like, granted, it was with a lot of help and prodding from people that wanted him to figure it out.
And then again, the dark humor, he says, in regard to the hair, an ill omen, it would seem, as they're being killed off now. But, so when Joffrey, Marcella, and Tommen came out, each as golden as the sun, the truth was easy for any man to see who truly looked. And Tyrion thinks that if she had just borne one child from her husband, it would have been enough to disarm the suspicion. But she couldn't stomach him.
Couldn't do it.
Which I can't blame her for. He's valid.
So Tyrion asks, was it Littlefinger who let it slip? And Varys like, I named no name.
I said no one.
And, yeah, Tyrion delivers a pretty great line. Did you write down the line, or do you want me to just sum it up as best I
Oh, God.
Here?
Yeah, no. Tyrion mounts up, and he says, why, Varys, sometimes I feel as though you are my best friend in King's Landing, and sometimes I feel you are my worst enemy.
How odd. I think quite the same of you.
Which is interesting to me, Varys repeating that. That's the end of the chapter. Blah.
Yeah.
But Varys repeating that back is interesting, thinking of Tyrion as both his best friend and his worst enemy. Like,
I think it's because he knows the intentions that Tyrion has, but he understands that if Tyrion ever turned his attentions towards Varys, he could pose a problem.
Yeah, if he finds out what Varys' ultimate goal is with Fagon and such. Or I even could see it as Varys seeing the potential of Tyrion becoming the imp and actually
right. Well, that's what I mean. Like that's what I was thinking more of. If he actually,
because Varys knows how Tyrion's been treated by his father and his sister. Like, he knows that he's shit on, and so it could almost be this: I see greatness in you, but greatness can also lead to either side of the scale. There are great men who are evil. They do terrible, terrible things. Terrible. But great. Yes. And so, yeah, I just really liked Varys repeating it back to him and saying that, yeah, you're the same. I fear you and think you could be a great aid. And so that was Tyrion 3?
Yeah, sure.
Inductee?
Podrick. I mean, I don't really have any reason
for laying out those clothes, man.
I just love Podrick because I just love that he starts out at this point. He can't even look up off of his feet. He's so just Podrick, man. He's fucking Podrick, and it's Podrick. So Podrick.
Word. Mine's going to Littlefinger because we, as you mentioned, we actually get to see him play and play among an equal
you get to see him in action.
Equal one in the room with him, but someone who was able to pick up on the what he's doing and how easily he manipulated Cersei.
Now, I think it's fun though to see Cersei in this light for a while, where it's everything just seems very emotional, very anger driven, and it is. But eventually we get to see exactly what she's thinking and why she's coming out with this shit, and see the motivations behind it, as opposed to just, oh, I'm angry. Oh, you slighted me.
No, there is thought behind
the reasoning and whatnot.
Especially with her believing herself fucking Tywin incarnate.
Right, but Littlefinger just fucking shadows everything she tries here, and it's so good. Like, he just plays her. He plays her like fucking Lysa Arryn, man.
Yeah, and this is the primo stuff, man. This is the Game of Thrones being played, and you got the losers like Pycelle, the informers that just have nothing. You get the people like Varys who come and go, and you don't know where they are, but someone knows where they are, but is that really where they are? And then you get people like Littlefinger, who's just telling you what you want to hear, but it's also what he needs to hear and what the person down the street wants to fucking hear, and is going to, kill someone to hear. And it's just really good stuff.
It's wild and crazy,
So we did get a write-in from
the French Fry.
The French Fry Julian. and says how much he really enjoys these Tyrion and King's Landing chapters, and that's the Game of Thrones, A Song of Ice and Fire. Yes, I know, spirit all the way. And he likes the lines, only because you're guilty, sweet sister, and this one is more dangerous than I knew.
Good stuff.
He's got a lot to say about this one, but I'm going to just skip down to the inductee. He says, today I won't be as original as my inductee is Tyrion. Yeah, I know the mischief champion Peter or the bold Smith might deserve that, and maybe one of you guys will induct Baelish. So Tyrion all the way.
Whoa.
And he goes on to say, Valo Dwarfarius.
Valo Dwarfarius.
So thank you, Julian, for writing in. Tyrion's my boy. Like, of course, I loved watching Tyrion get pimping around King's Landing.
We always feel that way, the same way when we induct the point of view character. That it's just, it feels like it's the cheap way out.
Yeah,
but God damn it, if they're good, they're good, man.
Good.
You can't help it. So
Tyrion's
it's definitely
nothing
good.
But good here.
Yeah, and then we see you sneaking in a few extra inductees there.
Yeah, slipping them in there. This guy's cool and that guy. No, we do the same thing.
It's all right.
But
thank you for writing in. As always, remember, if you would like to submit your own inductee, we are always taking those. Even if we've already read the chapter, we'll read it out on the small council. Otherwise, coming up is Tyrion 3. No, this is Tyrion 3.
Wow.
I was reading my notebook, and I was reading from the last chapter.
Brand 2 is next.
Brand 2, and then after is another Tyrion chapter. That's
4.
why I'm getting so...
Yeah.
Is it 4?
It's still not 3,
sure?
yeah.
Okay. And so after Tyrion 4 is Sansa 2.
Sansa 2.
And then we get Arya 5.
Arya 5.
Brrrah.
Look at us, knowing the episodes that are coming up.
Yeah, for the first time ever in our...
So write us inductees
episodes.
for those, write us inductees for this, write us inductees for past ones.
And get excited for our super secret episode coming up that's featuring something super awesome.
Yeah.
Bella de Harris!
Peace.